This
That was
conference will now be recorded.
good morning, everyone. Welcome. Hi, my name is Steve Weir, and I'm the Marketing and Communication Manager for Regional Tourism Organization 9, also known as RTO 9 here in Southeastern Ontario. And with me today is Andrea Traynor, also known as Mommy Gears. Thank you so much for joining us today, Andrea. Andrea has been heralded as one of Toronto's top 30 ultimate mommy bloggers and has the top mommy blog called Mommy Dearest or mommydearest.com. Sorry about that, Andrea.
Happens all
She's
the
written
time.
she's written for many outlets like from Canada Living, Huffington Post, Traveling Mom, lots of brands such as Google, beaches, resorts, peak performance. And we were lucky enough this year to get a hold of her to come out to our region in southeastern Ontario for a visit with LeBoat. So thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to talk a little bit about your trip to southeastern Ontario, your visit on LeBoat, and perhaps in the Thousand Islands and Frontenac Club. So welcome, and thanks for joining me here today, Andrea.
Thank you, Steve. So nice to be here and happy to talk more about what was truly a really impressive trip overall.
Well, tell me a little bit about your experience to southeastern Ontario, if you would, and the
Sure.
viewers actually.
Sure. So it was sort of a two-pronged approach where it was by land and sea. And we kicked it off on La Boat and did a 6-day tour down the Rideau Canal, which
Wow.
was, I mean, when I say that it was a magical experience, I feel like that sort of Disneyfies the whole thing a little bit. But really, I don't have better words for it because it was one of the most magical trips that my family had ever taken. We were not boaters. We've been on pleasure crafts with other people driving over the years, but we've never been on a live aboard boat and we did not even have boat licenses. So going into it as people who were very, very new to boating and being able to not only learn how to navigate a 38-foot private yacht
Wow.
in a matter of a couple of hours, but then to go off and live and cook and see a part of Ontario that we saw in such a different way that you can't get by land. That in and of itself was and being able to connect with my family in such close quarters, even though we'd been together because of COVID for a very long time, it was a different kind of togetherness, and we were all experiencing it from a really novice perspective together. There's not a lot of things that you do with your family that as adults are new to you as it is for your kids. So this was one of those opportunities where it was really new for all of us, all four of us. And like I said, you get into little nooks and crannies that you just can't get to by car when you're by boat. So we saw a lot of really lovely little towns and like I'm trying to think, Westport, for example, was a really vibrant little place to be. Newborough, going through the Narrows, and even just being part of the lock system, the Parks Canada, interacting with the Parks Canada staff who are at the locks and really help guide you through it, especially as a novice. The whole experience was just one of, it really was a vacation like none other. So that kicked our southeastern Ontario trip off with quite a bang. And then after we finished that, we popped over to the Thousand Islands for a quick helicopter visit. And, that was funny enough, that was our first time in the United States, technically, in such a long
Yes.
time. So for people who are used to international travel, being grounded to Ontario travel for, 19 months at that point, it was kind of fun to be like, "Ooh, look, we're in the United States," because we flew over very briefly into US airspace. And having that vantage point was really cool. My husband and I had been in helicopters before, but it was my kids' first time in a helicopter. So it was really cool to experience that through their eyes. And then just seeing something as majestic from above as Bolt Castle was awesome. And then from there, we went to Kingston for a couple of days. we very fortunately got to stay at the Frontenac Club, which, as you know, is a really unique property. I think anywhere in Canada, but especially for Kingston. And I actually went to university in Kingston. So I spent 4 years living as a student in Kingston. So to be able to experience Kingston as a tourist was really unique. But specifically having the Frontenac Club as our home base, which number one is in one of the most walkable friendly locations that you can get for a hotel in Kingston. And number two, having 20 really unique individual rooms set inside of what was once a bank, being able to eat in what was once a vault. It's just a very cool experience as a whole. The rooms are beautiful. The staff was unbelievable. Some of the best hotel staff we've experienced anywhere in the world, actually. And the food was also amazing. And again, because of its walkability, you were able to park the car and wander around Kingston on foot. And I think that's one of the best ways to see Kingston, really. And we did all kinds of really neat things, but I think the standout for all of us was the Kingston Pen tour.
All right.
Just to be able to go inside of one of Canada's most notorious or iconic, I'm not sure which is the better word to use for it, prisons, obviously, that's no longer in use. Was fascinating. And I mean, I hope that my children never see the inside of a jail ever again, obviously, for
Yeah.
clear reasons.
Yeah.
But being able to tour something that really is such an important part of Canada's history in many ways, and has housed some of our most brutal criminals, was fascinating.
Yes. Wonderful. So you did receive a lot of fun experiences. You got to experience some things that a lot of people don't get to experience. What one thing stood out the most, maybe, with your trip to southeastern Ontario?
Out of the whole trip, I mean, the certainly the La Boat experience as a whole is a highlight, but I think being able to dock in some of those really vibrant communities that were just alive on and off the dock, um, being part of that boating culture was very new to us. It wasn't something that I was familiar with. So even just being parked at a dock and getting to know the people right across from you in the other boats, that was really interesting and lovely, and so nice to be able to socialize in a safe, still in a safe way. We hadn't done a lot of socializing for a year and a half, so you sort of forget what it's like to meet new people and get to know where they're from. And just that alone, it wasn't even so much about the, oh, we did this and we did that. It was being part of that interesting culture.
That's great. What one thing could we, as RTO9, could have done a little bit better to make your stay a little bit better?
I knew this question was coming, and I really tried to think of something constructive,
Yeah, yeah.
but it was an excellent trip. It was very well orchestrated and coordinated from beginning to end. Um, I thought both you and the agency did an outstanding job, and I'm a tough customer because I come from a public relations background. So I'm pretty critical when it comes to how things are coordinated. I thought it was top notch.
Wonderful.
I think the only disappointing day we had is something that would have been so far out of your control if you could have ordered Mother Nature to cooperate the day we were supposed to go to Colonel By Island, because that was the only thing that we didn't get to. We tied ourselves up on one of the buoys outside of the island, and we tried to do a little bit of swimming, and we would have stayed there all day and night and gone right onto the island, but Mother Nature did not cooperate that day. So
Well,
I think maybe the only thing I would suggest is maybe building in a rain day.
yes.
But that's hard to do on a press trip because obviously, every day is one more thing that if it does cooperate, then what are you going to do with these people for that spare day? So I think you guys did the very best job that you could have, and I actually have nothing to add.
Well, that's really good news, and I thank you for your comments. It's well taken. Would you consider coming back then to our region perhaps
A
next year?
million percent, even more than 100%. Absolutely. We would come back time and again.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for your time, and it's been a real pleasure working with you and receiving all your wonderful stories. It's been it's been incredible. So thank you very much for all your time on this.
Well, thank you for organizing a really memorable trip and something that we'll have in our memory storage for the rest of our lives. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good.